Pistons star is nearing his much anticipated return, and Daniss Jenkins' rise amongst the NBA ranks continues. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more in just a moment. Welcome back to the Pistons Jack YouTube channel. Today's episode, we are going to talk all things Jaden Ivey, his return, the latest news, when we can expect him return, and how he can fit into this Pistons team that is rolling. And then we'll spend the second half of the show spending some time talking about Daniss Jenkins, his play, and an award he was recently nominated for. But Jaden Ivey, I've wanted to wait until a non-game day to spend a little bit of time talking about him, the latest news, and just where he's at in terms of getting back onto the court and how I think he can really help this team. Last week, we started getting some footage of JI back out on the court, shooting the ball after practice, as well as shooting before a game. I think he was out on the court before the Pistons NBA Cup game against the 76ers, getting up some threes in kind of that pre-game shoot-around, if you want to call it that. Now, this was kind of the first time we've seen him out on the court, getting shots up. The first vision we've kind of seen since he was announced out with the surgery. I think it was back mid-October. It was during the preseason. He basically had a clean out of his knee, not a major surgery, but he was initially, the diagnosis was he'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks. That 4 weeks, I believe, was up, not last week, maybe the start of last week. So, and since then, Pistons PR recently tweeted out that Jaden Ivey has been assigned to the Motor City Cruise, the G League affiliate of the Pistons, as he continues his build-up for return to play, which is another big tick because not only has he been out, like obviously shooting the ball, doing like 1-on-0 type workouts with his assigned development coach, but the fact he's been assigned with the Cruise means he's potentially doing some live game rep work. He might be running some 5-on-5 with the Cruise. So maybe someone in the comments can educate me a little bit more, but my understanding is they assign these players with the G League affiliate. It tends to happen a bit more regularly than you would think, especially when players are coming back from longer term injuries or not kind of just day-to-day injuries. We saw LeBron recently assigned to the South Bay Lakers just for a day. Sometimes it feels like it's just part of the process with players coming back, but I think it's a chance for them during the season while the main squad, the Pistons in this case, probably aren't practicing as much. So this is a chance for JI to practice with the Cruise, get some live reps in. And so that's huge towards him returning. And we are sitting here on Wednesday, the 19th of November, or for me, it's Thursday, the 20th of November. And I would say I'm kind of thinking he could be back within the next 2 weeks. At the latest, first week of December, without a setback that's announced. So we're getting very close. And I think JI is going to fit this team absolutely perfect. And we've seen how Daniss Jenkins has given this team a huge boost in the last 5 games, and we'll talk about that. And a lot of that's just been with his ability to score the ball, ability to handle the ball and make things happen. And Jaden Ivey, in his own right, is... he's a different player to Daniss, but what he can bring to this team and what he can help take the load off Cade is very much like Daniss. And, you know, it was only last year. Let's not forget that Jaden Ivey put up 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists on 46% shooting from the field, 41% from 3 on a career high 5.5 attempts per game. And he also made some clutch shots down the stretch. There was the game winner against the Raptors, and then just the incredible 4-point play against the Kings, which, mind you, not only did he make the 3, but he had to make the free throw to give them the lead, and he did so. And the Pistons won that game, and even Cade cited it recently in his sit-down with Kevin Durant, that West Coast road trip between Christmas and New Year's last year, where the Pistons beat the Suns on the road, then they beat the Lakers, and then they beat the Kings. That Kings game where Ivey hits a 4-point play, that was where everything changed for this team, and they got their belief. It was the first time they won 3 games in a row in 4 or 5 years, something crazy like that. And that was where this all started. And then obviously we know They lose to the Nuggets the following game, and then they beat the Magic New Year's Day, but obviously that's where Ivy suffers the injury. But Ivy was very much a part of this team's turnaround, and I think it's dismissive to say that, oh, as soon as he went out, they became good, because this team was integrating a new coach last year, a new coaching staff for the most part, new veterans into the rotation. Yes, they still had the same young pieces, but it was always probably going to take them a little bit to get going. And I truly believe that if Ivy was healthy, this team season looks the same, if not marginally better than last year. I believe that. I know some people don't, and that's fine. But I think him coming back to this team is going to give them a huge boost. And like I said, you only have to look at the impact Daniss Jenkins is having. Someone that can handle the ball, get to the rim, draw some free throws here and there, take the pressure off Cade, and see how much that's sort of given this team a boost in his past 5 games. And then you just have to think, well, if they get Ivy back, Ivy's going to need a bit more time to get integrated because he hasn't played 5-on-5 basketball aside that half against the Grizzlies in close to a year now. So it's going to take him a minute, but I think once he hits his stride, and that might not be until January next year, I think we're just going to see this team get even more weapons, and especially come the playoffs, they are going to need more shot creators and more guys that can knock down threes. And if Ivy can continue to shoot 40% from three on 5 to 6 attempts per game, he's going to be a very, very valuable player to add to this lineup. And who knows what his ceiling could be. I know personally, I'm not going to expect him to come out and average 20 to 22 points, and that's going to be my pass or fail mark. For me, it's going to be about him, how he shoots the ball, his decision making, what he can bring defensively, and just focus on being a part of this winning team for this year. And then you can look at how he potentially goes in the playoffs. And then next season, I think, is his real chance to make a big leap with another full healthy off season under his belt. But I can't wait for him to return. And yeah, that kind of brings me to Daniss, who I've just drawn comparisons to there. Daniss Jenkins, in his 5 games since being a part of the rotation, the Pistons are 5-0. He's averaging 20 points, just under 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. He's shooting 50%, 44% from 3 in that span in just under 35 minutes a night. He was recently nominated for Eastern Conference Player of the Week. That was for the Wizards win where he had the clutch shots, the Bulls win, and the 76ers win. So this is going back a couple of games, but he's just been absolutely incredible. Like, just envision a 3-guard rotation. And you've also got Karis LeVert, but just in terms of pure guards, of Daniss, Ivy, and Cade. That is an incredibly dynamic, a very athletic, and a trio that, if they really all lock in defensively, can hold their own, especially on the ball. Cade's very good off the ball, and I think Daniss and Ivy can be really good on the ball. I think Daniss has been good defensively. I think that is a very dynamic trio to have in your backcourt that honestly can go off for 20 any night. Obviously Cade, but Daniss, I think the things that impressed me the most is his ability to get his own shot, which I spoke about on the post-game show yesterday, but also probably something I haven't spoke about enough is his ability just to run the offense and tell players where to be and have the confidence to come out and instruct players where to be and just keep the offense moving freely and making the right reads. Like, he's had some really nice skip passes to the corners for threes out of the pick and roll, which are more like a flashy type read. But then I just have found he's just so sound and he doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. Like, I think yesterday he had 7 assists, only 1 turnover, looks after the ball. And I think maybe sometimes we see the G League play of some of these guys who go down to the G League, dominate, and it doesn't necessarily translate. But I feel like you're seeing some of the benefits maybe of Daniss being the guy in the G League for a full season last year and making huge shots, but also just commanding an offense and getting those reps in whilst it's a big jump up to the NBA. And he's clearly someone that has confidence no matter what. But I think you're maybe seeing the benefits of him running a team in the G League consistently all last year, because we didn't really see him much at all. I think I remember him playing in a Minnesota game last year when the Pistons had significant injuries. But he's just incredible. And I love his mentality. He fits his team perfectly. I think I saw, and I'm trying to fact check this, but apparently his salary right now on a two-way deal is only $85,000, which is for the everyday person a decent amount of money. Don't get me wrong, but for an NBA player that is peanuts. And I thought two-way guys were on more like 500,000, but apparently after doing some research, that's kind of what the top of the line is. So if that's true, he's on $85,000. Like we spoke last year about Malik Beasley being the best value deal in the NBA at 1 year, $6 million. Well, I think Daniss is by far the best value deal in the NBA right now if he's on less than 100K doing this. But he'll be due for a payday, whether that's during this season. Well, I would imagine it will have to be because his two-way eligibility is going to run out in about 35 games. So he's established himself as a part of this rotation. I know I want to really round the point home that I think Cade, Ivey, Daniss, all three of those guys can work together. The Pistons, even with the healthy Ivey, probably, if some fans wanted Dennis Schroeder back to have those three guards. But I think now Daniss he's stepped right up, and I think what he's doing is sustainable. We saw him last night start with Cade. He still had 14 points, 7 assists, a steal or two. Made some big time plays, especially in the first and fourth quarters, I thought. And yeah, he's a gem. And I said I think I said after the Wizards or Bulls win, I was saying something like, oh, if they lose, him will be okay because of he'll have gotten paid. But you can't lose him now. Like, you just can't. Like, you have to keep him. I feel like even though it's been 5 games, he has just established himself as a part of this young core. And I take back what I said only probably a week ago now. Like, I don't want to lose him, and the team has to do whatever it takes to keep him because I think he fits perfectly. But that's going to do it for today's show. Let me know your thoughts on the Cade, Ivey, Daniss trio. Are you worried about Ivey being reintegrated back in the team? I'm not at all. I think they'll bring him along slow. But I think that 3-guard rotation is incredibly dynamic, and I cannot wait to see it. But appreciate you watching. As always, we'll be back with another video tomorrow. But until then, as always, go Pistons.